Welcome to the Collide Kids podcast, hosted by Christen Clark. This is a show for kids and families. You are going to meet new people and have fun while you listen. Let's do it!
Hey y'all, welcome to the Collide Kids podcast. I'm your host, Christen Clark. The Collide Kids podcast is a show for kids and families where we learn together how life and faith collide. It means so much to me that you are listening today. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me. Hey, if this is your first time listening, I just want to say welcome. I hope you love it. Don't forget to listen to the end of every episode. That's where we have the kids only segment where kids just like you get to be on the podcast. Well, today, this episode is our final episode for season 2. Looking back over this past year, I'm just amazed at all the incredible people I got to meet and all the amazing stories I got to hear. So I hope that you could spend some time going back and listening to some of those. I'm just going to be taking a break for the month of July. So we're just going to be resting and regrouping a little bit. We're going on vacation and we have some activities as a family. So it's just good to take a step back and give some breathing room in our schedule. But don't worry, we will be back in August with episodes to share with new guests and great stories. I'm so excited about those. Let's get into today's episode because I have been excited to share this conversation with you guys for a long time. My guests today, 2 guests, I have not just one, but 2, is Ed Wiley and his son, Ezra. Ed is a stand-up comedian, accidental goat farmer, homeschool dad of 6, husband, tech guy, and Jesus follower. Ed lives on a South Georgia farm with his wife, 6 children, 8 cats, a dog, way too many goats, and 1 rabbit named Banjo. He says he's not really famous, but you may have seen some of his stuff come across your social media. Also appearing on the show is his 9-year-old son, Ezra, who also does stand-up comedy with his dad. I cannot wait for you guys to hear this conversation. It was so much fun meeting them, and I love that we got to share this with them together. So here is my conversation with Ed and Ezra Wiley. I am so excited to have Ed and Ezra Wiley on the podcast today. Thank you guys for being here.
Oh, thanks so much for having us, Christen. It's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, would you guys just introduce yourselves? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, for sure. My name's Ed Wiley. It's a lot. I'm kind of like the uncle who overcommitted himself. I have a tech job by day. I do stand-up comedy on the weekends and at night, mostly in churches, but also in clubs. Same act in both places, though.
Nice.
I live on a goat farm.
A goat
and my
farm?
wife and I have, and my wife and I have 6 children. So ranging in age from 9 to 20. And I'm here with my son. You want to introduce yourself? What's your name?
I'm Ezra Wiley.
How old are you?
I'm 9.
What's your favorite animal?
All the animals.
All the animals on the whole earth? Okay. Well, there you go.
I love it. And I hear that, Ezra, you are also a stand-up comedian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you do some of the shows with your dad?
Yep.
That is so cool. Okay. I'm excited to talk to both of you about this. I think this is awesome. And I want to hear definitely about the goats as well. But before we do that, because this is a show for kids, we always like to start out with a joke. So I'm going to put you both on the spot. Do you guys have a joke you want to share with us?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess I'll go first, Ezra.
All right.
So this is for kids. Okay. Well, this is like a children's church thing. So here we go. Baptists never, I'm going to really divide the denominations here. Baptists never have outdoor baby dedications because if it rains, all the babies become Presbyterian. So kids, you can go ask your mom or dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they got to ask about that one, but that's a good one. I liked it.
Tell us the doctrines of baptism, mom and dad.
That went deep really fast.
Did we get dunked? Yeah, that does good with adults, but okay, kids. Ezra didn't laugh at it. All right, Ezra, you got one?
Yep. All right. This is mine. I like monsters. I have a whole book of them. on page 1 is the monster lives under my bed. On page 2 is the monster that lives in my closet. And on page 3 is broccoli and green beans.
I agree. You know, I like to cook, and I try to like green beans. I tried so hard, but I just don't like them. I agree with you. They're definitely a monster.
They totally are a monster. Broccoli too. You can't even fry the nastiness out of them. You can't. You can tomatoes. If you don't like tomatoes, you can fry them and usually get by.
True.
But
Yeah,
green
you
beans,
get some other stuff. Yeah,
it's all good.
I agree. Those are great. Those are great jokes. Good job. Okay, so I mean, jokes are your job. So tell us about how you started out as a stand-up comedian, Ed.
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so never really thought about doing comedy seriously when I was younger, mostly because of fear. People always kind of told me I was funny, but I was really afraid about, kind of what people would think about me, when I was in like, college, and even like after I was married and started a family. Never really thought about it. I had some pretty serious health problems, and the Lord really used that in my life to strip away some bitterness I had from some bad church experiences and family experiences. And that kind of freed me up to not care so much about what other people think, like if you're, this applies to, if you're an adult or a kid, right? If you care too much, you want to care about other people, but not worry all the time about what other people think. That's not good. You got to give that to the Lord. So, and do it when you're young, like age 7 to 12. Don't do it. Don't wait till you're in your late 30s. So with that, I recovered from those health problems, which were very serious, and kind of didn't know if I was going to make it or not. And then about a year or two later, my wife said, you should try that. You should try stand-up. And then I did. I went and tried. It was terrible for the first year. I drove to a club. I live in South Georgia. I lived in Metro Atlanta for a long time, but I drove 3 hours on a Wednesday night to an open mic and bombed, and did that for months. Finally learned how to tell jokes in front of people. It's very different. Being funny with friends is very different than being funny with strangers, which is different from being funny on a stage in front of strangers. It's very different stages. Right. So, I just kind of went from there. I won a clean comedy contest, and then I got on the radar of some ministries that needed, a comedian for fundraisers, and had a few things go viral on Facebook, which was crazy. I never really thought that a bit called "If Trump Were on Staff at Your Church" would be seen millions and millions of times, but it was, and wasn't really. It was just kind of something I wrote in passing. And then, I kind of got into that world of, I guess, I've always worked clean, so that I'm a Christian. You kind of understand I don't know, kind of the inside baseball of things that are funny if you know church culture, right? So you can talk about that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's how I got into it. How'd you get into comedy, Ezra?
Well, I'm pretty sure I was walking up the driveway, and I said my joke that I opened with, which is called "Never Say Never."
Let's hear it. I want to hear your joke that you open with.
Why do people say "never say never"? They just said "never" twice.
That's true.
I was walking up the driveway with my mom, and I said that. She was like, "That's really funny. You should turn that into a joke." And I'm pretty sure the first show that I did, it was in Pompano.
Yeah, Pompano Beach, Florida, at a Baptist church. You went right in.
Wow.
You went right into it.
And after that, I wrote some more jokes, like the one that I shared at the beginning of this. And that's how I started.
I love that. And so are you nervous, Ezra, when you go up on stage and have to tell your jokes?
Yeah, kinda.
What helps you not be so nervous, or what helps you be brave when you have to do stuff like that?
Nerf guns? Do you shoot the people with Nerf guns?
No.
No, that doesn't help. That's a bad suggestion. I'm not a good father.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't shoot the audience with Nerf guns.
I think kids are so good at like just trying out new things. And so they might be a little bit nervous, but like you were saying before, I don't think kids know as much yet about thinking about what other people think about them. So
Yeah.
good that they get to have these experiences. So that's really awesome, Ezra, that you got to just try that out. And so do you do a lot of shows now with your dad?
Yeah, I'm going to do one really soon.
That's exciting. That's so fun.
Yeah, we
And
got one next month together, don't we?
Yep.
It's for a ministry. It's a fundraiser. There's a couple of comedians on it. Some really funny guys. And Hank Denson and Wellington Juku. They're super funny, and I'm on it with them. And then, but for my 20 to 25 minutes, Ezra's going to open and do the first few.
Very
Right?
cool.
Yep.
Do you
I think
guys
the
tell
movie's
jokes
okay.
together?
Well, we don't get on stage together, except when we're doing songs, but no, we don't tell jokes together.
His sisters and like his two of his older sisters tour with me sometimes. They've gotten a little older and do so less. We're not trying to be like some big entertainment family, but they have done that. They've toured with me. One of them plays the fiddle. One of them's a vocalist, and we have some bits that we worked out, some musical bits. So Ezra will come up at the end for those.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then we do like a jokes to music thing, where
Yep.
if we've written something that doesn't really fit anywhere else in the act, we'll just kind of throw those out. And what was the one you have about a lab?
Why are chocolate labs called chocolate labs if dogs can't eat chocolate?
Yeah, it's just if
Good
dogs can't
point.
eat chocolate, why are they? Yeah, he has these observations. If dogs can't eat chocolate, why are there chocolate labs? It's a good question. It's insulting to name a dog that. Let's name you the thing that you
That you
would have
can't
to go to the
eat.
pet
That's
ER
right.
for. It's like
But I promise you,
arsenic humor.
if you ever offered a dog chocolate, they would eat it. They'd try to eat it. So, but they shouldn't. It's not good for them.
That's right.
That's
right.
great. So, okay. So you guys are stand-up comedians. I think that's so fun. And then you also said that you have a goat farm. Tell me a little bit about your goat farm. We'll be right back after this. You know, raising kids in the digital age isn't easy, but Bark Technology makes products that help parents keep their kids safe online and in real life. They have an app, a phone, and a home device that lets families set parental controls on their internet-connected devices. I love the app because it helps us manage screen time and blocks websites and apps we want our kids to avoid. It also sends alerts and gives us the ability to monitor texts and social media and even track your child's location. Visit bark.us to learn more about how you can keep your kids safe online. Use the code COLLIDEKIDS to get 15% off your subscription of the Bark app.
Ezra, you want to tell us
Uh,
just your perspective on living on the goat farm? He's lived here his whole life. He was born in South Georgia, actually in a pasture in a field.
Well,
No, he wasn't.
we have 20 goats, 1 cow, and every night we have a huge corrals and we run them all in and feed them. And we have a ton of land, well, at least to me, and we have a creek, and we have recently we opened up our old hayfield into part of our goat pasture.
Okay.
So now every time it's not raining, we let the goats in there, and we keep one goat that does not have horns in the corrals. There's 2 parts.
Why is he kept in the corrals? Why do we keep him separate?
Because he's 13,
He's old.
and
Okay.
He's our oldest goat, George.
God, George.
He's ancient. He
Oh.
also has an effeminate bleat, which is really, really weird.
yeah,
All the other goats are like, "Meh," and he's like, "Meh," and so it's very. But he's big, and I don't know. I feel like they mock him in goat.
it's like his mat is like our cat Pepper, who meows meows like this. Meow.
It is similar. You're right.
Wow.
Pepper and George hang out sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he
That's
think he's a cat, maybe? Does he believe he's actually a cat and not a goat?
Well,
Yeah.
he doesn't have horns, but he runs like a giraffe.
I need a
giraffe
video
on-
of this. This is exciting.
It's
Now-
it's expensive.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
named all the goats? Like, do they all have a name?
Yes, every single one of them, including all of our 8 cats and our 1 dog and our 1 rabbit.
Wow. Who gets to
Which-
name them? Who has that responsibility?
Well, our 8 cats, Runty,
Runty?
Runty is kind of like the one who we feed with all of them. He has a very bad sickness.
But we don't want to talk about Runty's megacolon. Don't Google that, kids. But it's a thing.
Yeah. But
Runty has problems.
yeah, when we first got our first a batch of kittens, litter of kittens, all of the kids named them. I wasn't born yet, but
Yes.
then Grover came along, and he was you could barely see him. He was so fuzzy, and
He's as small as a kitten.
He-
It's a stray kitten that wandered up.
yeah, he's still
Okay.
that fuzzy to this day. Fluffy, a white Siamese cat which is cross-eyed on one eye.
So it's a freak show. This is
Fluffy,
we live next to a nuclear power plant.
Fluffy Grover, and Pepper all live down by the barn. Sometimes our cat George, which is gray,
This is a lot of detail.
comes-
I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
comes down there and sleeps in the hay.
So you have a
yes.
cat named George and you have a goat named George.
Yeah, it is complicated.
Yes.
Just have the same names you recycle a lot.
No, I just these, people ask, what do you do? Like when I tell goat jokes during my shows, people always come up afterwards. They're like, "Oh, you have goats? What do you do with them?" Which is just normalize having goats. You don't have to ask that question. Nobody asks nobody's like, "Oh, you have cats? Well, what do you do with them?" Nobody asks that. Just let us have goats.
They want to know if you make soap or cheese or.
I know we're not that Amish.
Oh, okay.
We experimented
like
with
that?
that. No,
Oh, okay.
you have to milk them every day. Like my wife
wow.
milked them for a while, and then I was like traveling one weekend. I think it was during a Mother's Day weekend, and she was pregnant. I think with you, Ezra. And there was something about a pail and another goat kicking it, and it was a very Amish sounding story. And she was pregnant, and she just texted me, "I'm done." So
That was
when
the
you're
end of
done
that.
producing things, then they just become pets. So we're this is basically turned into a goat rescue, but it needs to be rescue from me because I'm going broke on this. It needs to be an Ed rescue.
So what do you like about having all the animals around, Ezra? What's your favorite thing about having all these animals?
Oh, well, every time you go outside, even if like half of the animals in the woods, since you have 31 animals, there's always an animal.
Yeah.
There always is.
Every time you go outside, you have to pay money.
And when you walk out, when you go into our great room, you can see an animal. A rabbit named Banjo lives down there. And when you walk out onto our porch, you can see our dog Maud.
So it's you like being able to constantly see an animal.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Always
should get you
around.
some like a Wii or something where you can just put on some VR goggles. It'd be a lot cheaper. This is an expensive proposition. You make it the way you describe it, Ezra. It sounds like we're like medieval royalty living down here. Well, out in the back 40, I can see my goat and my cow. But we're not. We live 3 hours from a major city. It's like we're in an old brick ranch. We're just normal people. It's not. We don't.
I like living out here.
You like living out here?
Yeah, we're right next to a Dow General. I could walk to one.
Hey, there's nothing better than a Dollar General. I agree.
I love a good Dollar
What
General.
else do you need? You got goats and a Dollar General.
That's right.
So,
And the road less traveled and the regular road both have the same number of Dollar Generals. You know,
that's so true.
It's ubiquitous.
Yes. You know you're okay when you're in the middle of nowhere if you see a Dollar General. Like, okay, we're fine. There's a Dollar General there.
That's right.
Yeah, it's literally so close I could bike to it.
That's awesome.
Actually that close.
So did you just you found a goat and then you added another and you added another? How did this become so many animals? Or did they come with a farm?
You know, I mean, we have 6 children, so I'm not really great at planning things. So it's it's the same with the goats. Really, is that we started off with a couple, and they just biology is powerful. It's a thing, and then I think at one point we had 70 goats. We were exactly right. Yeah. How could you make so many bad decisions? And if you want a list of ways to lose money, don't do it, kids. Don't raise goats. Like a show goat, one show goat for FFA, FHA, 4-H. That's cool.
Yeah.
But you're going to struggle to make $1 with goats. We were selling them there for a while, taking them to auctions. How did I not know that? How did I know? What is there? Some wealthy goat baron somewhere in the United States? No, there's not. Nobody's. So
sounds like you are. You're right by the Dollar General, and you have all these goats. That's amazing.
Living in just a lavish lifestyle out here.
Yeah.
What?
Something that would be good instead of just having a ton of each animal would be just having one of each animal, like one cat, one goat, one pig, one hen, one chicken, one.
Yeah, just one giraffe.
Yeah, one of every single animal.
Of that, I mean that's like half the ark.
True.
Yeah. True.
I love this. So tell me what it is about being a stand-up comedian that helps you with your faith in God or reminds you of your faith in God.
Oh man, that's a great question. Well, I think Ezra alluded to this earlier. You asked him if he got scared when if he was nervous. I think when you don't ever know how stand-up comedy is going to go. I'm talking you could have Ezra and I both have jokes that we call proven jokes, right? So that we've told them dozens of times, some of them hundreds of times, and we know that. I mean, I'm talking 98% of the time they're going to work, but there's always a chance with a certain crowd on a certain night. Sometimes it's the lighting's weird, or the person that went up before you, or the host is weird, or it's the sound is weird. People can only hear you in part of the room, something like that. Or sometimes it's just a group of people that never needed to have gotten together in the same location ever and never need to again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. You remember the show? You know the show I'm talking. Don't say the city or town in case they hear it, but you know the show. It was just, and then we had another show 2 days later that was good, but that one was it was brutal. And you just have to. It's just about caring about what people think. You don't want to. If you tie yourself to the reaction, your identity, who you are as a person, to the way people are reacting to you in the room, and don't have a longer view and kind of, just trust God with the outcomes. You do the work on your craft, and the craft here is stand-up comedy. Work on it towards excellence, between you and God. You're writing the jokes, you want them to be funny, you want them to honor God and not dishonor him. Maybe pit Baptists against Presbyterians, but you don't want to dishonor God. So, and then you just leave the outcomes to him. I think that's an old Charles Stanley thing, actually. I don't know. Am I allowed to mention his name?
Yeah. I love that.
Trust God with the outcomes, or however that goes.
Leave all the consequences
to him.
Leave
all the consequences to him.
That's
every
right.
time. And Father, we thank you.
Yes. Father God.
Yes.
I love Dr. Stanley. That's awesome. Yeah, I think too, like you said, it could be with any job, not just stand-up comedy. It could be with anything that a kid's doing. If they're playing sports or they're going to school, all the things that we do it all for the Lord. We do it not to win the approval of other people, but we just do it because it's what we can do. It's the ability and the gift that God has given us. And so we just keep doing it, even if we don't get not the expression, response. Yeah, we don't get the response back that we were expecting, or we don't get the admiration that we were so hoping for. We're still going to do what we are, because our identity, like you said, is not based on what we're doing.
That's right. Ezra, do you have anything to add to that? Does the Lord teach you things when you do stand-up comedy?
Do you have a favorite Bible verse or Bible story, Ezra, that you like to read about?
Well, I kind of have never read the Bible, so I don't know any of it.
You have, but you've heard them. Like you've heard the stories, right?
Lot of pieces of the Bible.
Not the whole Bible, but
I know you haven't read the Bible cover to cover. I'm aware of that. But like at school time, you and Mama, like y'all read Bible stories.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
Okay, man, that's cool. You know what? That's cool. Yeah. I think in another context you might, but that's okay. That was a good, honest answer.
Now you know that's something you got to shoot for.
Podcast. I would put that in my podcast because that would be hilarious. Actually, I've never read the Bible, so no.
All right. Well, you got some homework, Ezra. You got
to start in Genesis 1:1 and start reading. I'll ask you questions about your eschatological views in 2 weeks, so you better be all the way through.
Let me ask you this, Ezra. What is something that you love about God? What's something about God that you love?
That he gives us basic stuff like a roof and a house.
Meets all our needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good answer. Yeah, he definitely does. And knowing that comes from God and not from us, that's a good thing. That's a good perspective to have. Very good answer. Saved you from the last one.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's some Matthew 6, I think, rolling up in there. I think so. Yeah. Yeah, Dad will get you on the verse references, bro. I got you covered.
Very good. Well, you guys, this was so much fun. I loved meeting you guys and talking with you today. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did.
Yeah, absolutely. This was great, Christen. This is how did you get started in podcasting? Can we ask you that? Is that going to throw off
you're going to turn the tape on me? Yeah, I just decided, it was just something that I'd always loved listening to, and I was trying to find a kids podcast, that we could listen to all together, because some of the kid podcasts are like Bible stories, or they're just silly stuff, or, things. It was just what I was interested in, and I've been working in children's ministry for a really long time, so I thought it'd be a lot of fun to put those two together, and here we are. So I've got to meet some really cool people. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
You've had a whole lot of, like, a wide range of people on your podcast. I was looking back at your old episodes. So
I know.
Olympians to comedians to.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Love it. But it's cool. Like, I would have never got to meet some of these people had I not had this. So this is great. I get to meet you guys, and I get to meet all these different interesting people that have some really awesome jobs, and get to learn more about that. So I love that. So yeah, thanks for asking. Well, hey, before I let you guys go, I always like to close my show out by asking my guests to share a memory from when they were a kid. So Ezra, you are a kid. So do you have a memory you want to share just from today, or from a few weeks ago or years ago? What you got for us?
Well, one of the, we have a tradition of every Christmas night, we go look at Christmas lights.
And you like to do that?
Yeah, that's one of the
But
things.
What do we do while we look at them?
We sometimes roast them.
Yeah, we roast them. We drive around roasting Christmas lights. It's a very good way to celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior.
And some things that we see. The stuffed animal of the dog at the at the end, the stuffed animal of the dog at the end of the alley on the pile of logs.
Yeah, that was kind of scary. There was just a random stuffed animal. Yeah, we all remember that. It was like, why is that? There was just, we turned a corner and there was a stuffed animal on a pile of logs, and then we kept looking at lights. That was a weird neighborhood.
Yeah, and all of the Santa blow up thingies were knocked down.
You're right. In the whole town, it was like a Santa attacker,
like
had gone
vandalism.
out.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a Santa vandal on the loose. Ezra, that's a great memory.
Yeah,
That's better than anything I can come up with. Yeah, that's amazing.
I love it. What have you got for us, Ed? What's a memory you have for us?
Oh man,
From when you were a kid.
When I was a kid, I remember I was about Ezra's age, and I went rafting down the Chattahoochee River and saw a big snake in the water, like a really big, long snake. And I never went rafting again after that. So anyway, kids,
That's a good one.
have a good time out there on the water.
I used to work at a camp when I was in high school and college, and we would go tubing in the mountains. There's like a river, we could go tubing. And that was my prayer for the entire time, because I'm responsible for all these children, was, Lord, please don't let me see a snake, because if I do, I will probably step on children to get away from it. And then I'll lose my job. So Lord, please don't let me see it. I know they're here. I know they're in the water, but don't let me see them. And I never did. It was the Lord answered that prayer. So
He protected those children from
That's
what
right.
it said. He will strike your head and he will bruise your head and you will strike his heel. You were going to strike these children with your heel.
That's right.
Trying to get
walk
out of
on
there.
water, trying to get
Right.
out. Yeah, I don't do
That's right.
snakes, so I wouldn't raft either. So that's good. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show today and taking the time to do this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sure was, Kristen. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Truly, it is one of my favorite things to have kids on the podcast. It's always so surprising and so much fun. I loved all of Ezra's observations that he gave us and his jokes. They were so good. And I love that Ezra said that he loves that God provides for us and takes care of all our needs. So true. I also really enjoyed when Ed was talking about how he got started in comedy, and he really encouraged us to work on our craft, on our sports, our athleticism, our passions, the things we're talented in. Do your best and leave the outcome to God. He wants to use those things and he will do that. And that's so good to be reminded of that. Even if we don't get the response back from other people, when Ed and Ezra go out there and tell their jokes on stage, they don't know if they're going to get a laugh. They don't know if the people are going to like the joke, but all that matters is how God sees us. And all we have to do is work out what we're doing and do our very best, and God will take care of the rest. So good. Well, if you'd like to find more about Ed Wiley, you can go to his website, edwileycomedy.com. You can also find him on social media like Facebook and Instagram, and he's got a great YouTube page. So be sure to check out Ed Wiley Comedy. I'm sure you and your family will really enjoy it. Well, now it's time for the kids only segment. This is the part of the show where you get to be on the podcast. So here is my friend Reagan.
Hi, my name is Reagan Lucero, and this is my joke. Why are cats so bad at pool? Because they always scratch.
I get it. When the cue ball goes into the pocket when you're playing pool, that's called a scratch, and cats always scratch. Good joke. I like that one, Reagan. Thank you for sharing that with me. Well, if you would like to be on the podcast just like Reagan was and share your favorite joke or an encouraging quote that you like from a book or a movie, or maybe you have a favorite Bible verse you want to share, you can find information about how to send that to me through my social media. I'm on Facebook at the Collide Kids Podcast or on Instagram at Collide Kids Pod. You can also check out my website, collidekidspodcast.com. Hey, would you like to support the podcast? Well, there are a few ways you can do that. first, be sure to subscribe and follow this podcast so that new episodes will automatically load each week into whatever podcast app you're using. And leave a rating and a review. When you do that, it really does help shows like mine get a boost in the podcast app. I don't know how it works, but more people get to hear about it, and that's always a good thing. You can also share this episode with friends and family and tell them why you and your family like to listen. Or you can go by my website and click the link that says Buy Me a Coffee. And anytime you think about it, I always appreciate your prayer support as well. Well, I hope you guys have an amazing summer. I hope you have a great July. Have a great time with your family, all the festivities, all the hot dogs and the fireworks and all the good things that are coming your way. And don't worry, we will be back in August. I've got some great shows lined up for you. Can't wait to share those with you. So until then, I will see you in August. Well, in case no one has told you today, I would love to be the first to remind you that God loves you so much. Thanks for listening. Happy summer! Woohoo!
You don't have to go very far looking for bad news because somehow it just finds you. So finding peace in the chaos can be really difficult, but it doesn't have to be because the River mobile app exists. The River is a Christian music radio station dedicated to playing music to help you get through life's toughest moments or life's happiest moments and everywhere in between. And all from artists who love Jesus and are real people just like you. Listening is easy. You can download it wherever you get apps from. Just search 1049 The River or listen online at riverradio.com. And know that The River is proud to partner with the Collide Kids podcast.